In fact, just in terms of bottom line, yesterday I was talking to one of the sales guys, and he mentioned that a key decision maker at a critical account that we're pursuing had mentioned an article that he'd seen in an industry publication, and he indicated that he had taken that article and given it to his staff and said, this is something that we really need to pay attention to. So it just doesn't get more clear-cut than that. When you have a sales guy in a sales situation, key decision maker who's seen an article, who liked it, who gives it to his staff and will thus help influence the decision, you just can't ask for any more. So we're a little bit new to new media, and Engage has been encouraging and promoting the use of new media, and there's no question there's a tremendous amount of value there. You have to leverage every possible communications vehicle these days. There's just an expectation in the marketplace that you do that. So those instances where we've used new media, we've seen great results. We did a podcast for a security publication a couple of months back, and again, coincidentally, just yesterday I was actually out looking at a blog, and someone in that blog had quotes from that podcast. So this was someone who'd listened to the podcast and they were quoting it in another blog. So it's just clear evidence of how the tentacles get out there and that the message gets conveyed in other places. So that struck me and suggests that we need to do more in that area. Another thing we did, which I think was even more successful, was a slideshow for a major industry publication, Network World. That slideshow has been running on their site now for 6-7 weeks, and anytime there's an article that's at all relevant to the topic, that slideshow appears front and center. It's at the top. So just recently there's another related article, and it appeared right at the very top of the listings of additional resources. So again, it's just clear evidence that when you do things, you take the extra step to do more than just print, there's a great return. There's this ongoing return that you don't always get with print media. So in terms of Engage really showcasing their ability, I think it really goes back to when we first started the relationship. I first contacted Engage expressing interest in working with them mid to late July, and it was a very short conversation, and said, hey, I want to talk to you guys a little bit more, we're going to need some agency help, and I'll be back in touch. And so toward the end of July, and literally the last week of July, I got back in touch and said, I've talked to several other agencies, and I want to talk to you guys a bit more and see if we can have a relationship. And I had a follow-on conversation, and it was then that I made the decision that they're really the agency that we should go with. So this was literally like July 25th, 26th, something like that. Then they got the bad news. We had a major launch that we had to do August 6th. So we were like 8, 9, 10 days away from a major launch, and I told them, I'd love to go with you guys. We've got this big launch to do, and they said, oh wow, that's great, let's go. And we did, and I have to confess, I kept my fingers crossed, but the reality is that they delivered in spades. It was absolutely amazing. From a standing start in about a week of experience with our company and with our message and all that, they were able to deliver this launch that was tremendously successful. So on an incredibly compressed time frame, we had this great outcome. And without the experience and background in the market that they had, there's just no way that would have been possible. It would have been an absolute disaster. So to me, that was a real testament. I don't know how they were able to pull together the resources and align the thinking and make it all happen, but they really did. And it was great because that was a perfect foundation for us to then build on. In fact, 3 weeks later, we did another announcement, which was a tremendous success. And a month after that, did yet another announcement, which was also successful. So it's been a non-stop sort of marathon ever since, and they've kept the pace and continue to deliver for us. Engage has experience, follow-through, and persistence. That's my consistent observation. So that's a great combination. It's just what you need in a PR agency.